we actually discussing about is what StackOS does, and give a little brief introduction into why do we need decentralization and does it truly happen in Web3? And to move forward, like my talk will also give an example on how to sort of migrate Web2 native companies to Web3 uh, to Web3 infrastructure, and uh, uh, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. Uh, so when we talk about the current cloud landscape, just to give a brief introduction into like what is the current cloud landscape is basically just centralized servers, computing servers that are provided for by like companies like Amazon Web Services, Azure, which is owned by Microsoft, GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform, and many other cloud computing services are there, like Alibaba Cloud and many others. Uh, but at its core, uh, cloud as a concept and something used for providing computing power is actually owned by centralized is done in a very centralized manner because these are just companies who have sort of a monopoly between the services that they provide to the user and the user being us, depending on what a developer is developing and the person who's using it. Uh, so to just give a brief introduction into like what are some of the flaws I would say in Web2 architecture and in the cloud landscape is that the incentive mechanisms aren't aligned. So when I talk about incentive mechanisms, it usually means that someone who actually owns a share of the company is the only one who's benefiting in some sense, even if he doesn't use the product, uh, which isn't the case in like Web3 products, where like users as well as people who are buying the token are incentivized to like create and provide for the ecosystem. Uh, what also happens is that uh, most cloud architecture is actually really expensive to set up. And what happens is because of complex architecture and people not being able to develop, it's really susceptible to a lot of hacks. And another thing that happens in Web2 architecture, cloud architecture at least, is that there's no anonymity. So what I mean by that is like when you're creating an account in AWS or any of these other cloud computing providers, you actually have to do the KYC. So you have to like not only give your name, you have to give your Aadhaar, PAN card, your grandfather's name. When are you going to eat? And so many unnecessary details. Uh, so in that sense, you don't have any anonymity, which is very crucial in Web3. Uh, and another thing that doesn't happen, what you don't see happening is uh, cloud companies can't, I mean, the current cloud companies, they really can't work with DAOs because DAOs are like sort of a collective wallet, and what they provide are looking for, they are looking for anonymity, which isn't provided by centralized servers. So it's very hard to track for them. Coming to like some examples of like, I would say why decentralization is needed. If I should take the case of Uniswap, so Uniswap started out as a became the cornerstone of DeFi, decentralized finance, and during DeFi summer, which is I think 2020 ish, and what happened was a lot of concepts around what finance is supposed to be and how it could really provide for like different economies to sustain and create uh, revenue for yourself started being realized through Uniswap. Uh, but what started to happen was as it was under the jurisdiction of the states, uh, the government started to feel like they were losing control and they started declaring certain tokens that they felt were infringing on some of their values or centralized values, I would say, were starting to be declared as illegal. And unfortunately, Uniswap being in these jurisdiction areas uh, had to be compelled or they were forced to delist most of the security tokens from decentralized finance, like from their platform itself. So in that sense, it truly wasn't decentralized because, uh, as the title suggests, economic freedom was snatched. Uh, Coming to another example of Parler, Parler was sort of uh, an alternative to Twitter to provide free flowing conversation, which obviously would be moderated, but not in the sense that how Twitter does it, where like if the present ex-president of the United States could get banned from such a huge platform, it also suggests about other voices that could be suppressed, important voices that could be suppressed. Uh, so a lot of people, when they what they felt was what Twitter was doing was really unfair. And since Parler's user base was growing steadily, what happened was to a later period, Apple banned it from its App Store, and AWS even delisted it from using its services. So, in this sense, if someone is uh, trying to provide a service that provides the freedom of speech, where no voice is restricted, and you're free to speak at your will with uh, and sort of communicate your ideas in a fashion that is portrayable. This freedom of speech itself was snatched. So I would say that because of at least these two examples and countless many more Web3 protocols have been suppressed. This truly happens because uh, there isn't something that is being provided as of now to provide true decentralization. And in order to create platforms that sustain themselves for a very long period, this is where true decentralization matters. Uh, Now I'll be moving on to like how do we actually truly decentralize something as big as Facebook, and how effectively can you do it? So when I talk about presentation, it usually means the front end layer. The data storage would be uh, basically your file storage and other like SQL or any other database that you store your uh, documents on. AI analytics is usually to sort of understand what you're going to be analyzing using these data sets and sort of like recommending whatever these algorithms try to portray in whatever they're trying to sell to you or use it for advertising purposes. It's in the case of Web2. When it comes to integration, it usually means that uh, it's about messaging and notification services, which is basically basically provided by compute services because whenever you get a ping or any message or notification, what happens is it requires some amount of compute power. What happens is this compute power uh, is required is being provided by servers like centralized companies like AWS or Azure. And when it comes to data sources, how do you truly get off-chain data which is reliable? Uh, so right now, in the current state of Web3, the only two uh, protocols or like something tangible that is being provided or which could be alternatives to make Facebook Web3 is only being provided by Chainlink and IPFS. IPFS is a protocol which is meant for file storage, and Chainlink is another protocol which actually gets off-chain data onto the chain using reliable sources known as oracles, which is usually a computer program. What about the other services like the front-end layer, your ML and reporting, and the compute provided for messaging and notification services? Unfortunately, they're being provided by centralized computing services like AWS. So now, how do we truly make it Web3 if it is if these services, uh, as you know, like are being provided? by centralized computing services. We want it to be provided by our team, which is StackOS, which actually deals with providing you with decentralized compute storage, compute services, and not storage. Storage is being provided by IPFS. What we do best is provide you with compute power that is required to run your applications and websites in a decentralized manner. What we can show is that uh, depending because of our protocol, we can assure you with 100% uptime uh, for your for whatever app or website that you're deploying on StackOS. So this is an example of how you would uh, truly decentralize any native web 2 service like Facebook or Instagram or even WhatsApp for that matter uh, on to like a truly Web3 platform like StackOS, which actually provides you with decentralized compute. Some of the USPs of StackOS, if I had to uh, sort of lay it out in a much more easier manner, is right now, even in the current state of Web3, all you see right now is most of the smart contracts are decentralized, but the front end and back end aren't. So, how do you truly bridge that gap? In order to bridge that gap, you would like to onboard onto StackOS because that's where you can truly decentralize uh, not only your smart contracts, your front end and back end. Uh, Also, some of the points here, like being anonymous. When we say we do not care about you, uh, it it actually doesn't mean that we're apathetic towards your cause. It's just that all we care about is that your application uh, is running powerfully, and running powerfully means being always on top of whatever, uh, no matter what calamity occurs. So we provide you with 100% uptime. Uh, when we say it's super fast, like I said, deploying on centralized computing services like AWS or any other uh, platform is usually takes a lot of time and usually takes some amount of time to at least deploy it even after you takes a lot of time after deploying because there are a lot of processes in between from your building stage to deployment. Whereas in StackOS, all you need to do, and I will be demoing on how do you actually deploy your product, which is done in a instance of 3 clicks, and it's that fast. Uh, what we also done is we created a no-code UI. So if someone who is actually not from a technical background but has the code base in a Docker image, they're able to deploy very easily, and they don't use a lot of resources or computing. I mean, manpower to actually go through the process of educating to them. So it's very simple, and I will be demoing that. So, and another thing that we also want to highlight is that we are cost effective compared to most of the centralized computing servers like AWS or Azure. Uh, StackOS, since it uses latent computing power, we always provide enterprise grade compute for lesser than the cost than AWS. So now coming to the fun part, uh, how do you actually deploy on StackOS? So these are the 3 steps. So the first step is basically you have to the code base that you have, if you can Dockerize it or using something known as Docker, and if you can Dockerize it, you can get onto our platform. You can reserve compute on StackOS. I will be showcasing how do you exactly do it, and then once you've set your compute, you reserve compute how much bandwidth you need, how much memory, so that your application keeps on running and for how much ever bandwidth it needs using stack tokens. Our tokens uh, are meant for providing utilities. And once you've imported your Docker image into StackOS, you can run it, and it will start running on. It'll start running locally, and your application is deployed and will be running on StackOS, which would be unstoppable. Uh, so now I will move on to the next screen so that I can show you uh, the app. Shiva, can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm unable to see your screens. Just
Okay. Right now,
yeah, yeah. Now I can
is it
see.
okay?
Yeah, now. Yeah, yeah.
So right now, I will be. This is our website, and if you go over here, you can launch the app. So another thing in the presentation that I have to cover is about showing you guys about. We are going to come out with a version 2. Once this version 2 is released, you would be having an update of the UI of this. So it's the old logo. Uh, as you can see, there are two clusters. Right now, since uh, we'd like to select the Polygon chain. This is my MetaMask, which I've already signed into. So once I log in, I would like to choose Matrix. You can choose Titan as well. It's only just because I'm trying to show a decent small application. So I'd like to go for a cost optimized version. If you have a custom application of yours, what you can actually do is go for authority. Okay, I've signed in. Okay, so right now, as you can see, this is a StackOS app, and if you would like to create testnets or applications of your own, uh, once you've done it, you can actually use this panel. For right now, what I'd like to do, like in the second step was suggested to reserve some compute. So right now, I don't have any active plans. So let me set some. So let me set 512 uh, millicores. You can set how much a unit require. Let's say 512 memory. 1 GB of storage should be enough, and one GB of bandwidth. As you can see, even the price is quite low, and it amounts up to 1,245 stack. Uh, in order to buy stack, you can again import it into your MetaMask wallet using these instructions. I won't be going it through right now, and in lieu of whatever time there is left. But uh, if you require any more help on like how do you actually buy stack tokens and how do you go through this process, you can definitely reach out to us, and I'll be sharing links afterwards so that you can scan them and be a part of our community. Yeah, right now, like I said, I don't have any. Uh, I haven't reserved compute, so if I want to get onto an active plan, let me upgrade it. Okay. As you can see, I'm trying to confirm this. Okay. Right now, I've already successfully upgraded my plan. Now, what I can do is click continue, and as you can see, there's on the top right corner or top corner, you can see 0%. That means 0% because I haven't used any of the millicores that I've used, which also applies for the storage, bandwidth, and the disk space. So everything is zero right now. So what I'd like to do is try to deploy an application. Let me go to the App Store, and there are a lot of applications here. But to do something fun, let us go to some game. Um, I think I'll try with XGL. Okay, so XGL. This is the Docker image, and we can do a lot more customizations later on. But for now, if you just would like to deploy something on your own, buying those stack tokens, all you have to do is press this. Okay. So so as you could see, like deployment on StackOS is super easy, and you are able to see how fast we are able to deploy in a matter of seconds either, and not wait a couple of hours in order to uh, deploy something. I'd like to continue, and we want to see our app is deployed somewhere, right? What you have to do is get over here. Let me try to highlight this. Okay, let me just try. And as you can see, we have already deployed XGL, and Shiva, can you see the game?
Yes, yes, Andy. I can see that thing.
Yeah, and as you can see, everything is set onto its recording. Let me, it's loading. Wow. So yeah, as you can see, I can easily play this game. It's running natively on Stack. Although I'm a bad driver, please don't judge me. Uh, as you can see, I'm playing the game quite running quite smoothly, although my driving isn't. Okay, I better slow down. I think this is a better cue to stop, and this is how an application runs natively on StackOS. We've successfully deployed an application in a matter of seconds, and it's running completely. It's running completely on Stack without any disruption, or it hasn't even slowed down. So this is the true power of Stack. Right? If you have an application of yours, it will be once you natively run it on Stack, it is true. It truly becomes unstoppable. Let me go back to our presentation. So can you see the presentation?
Yeah, still not able to see the presentation now. I think there is a little delay.
Screen share again.
Yeah, now I can see.
So these are just some stats about StackOS and where we are in the decloud space. Uh, so to be honest, we are category leaders in decloud. What do you mean by that is compared to the competitors in the same space, uh, we've we surpassed our competition by a lot, and based on the statistics, we've come out to be category leaders in the decloud space. StackOS is currently the world's most utilized and fastest growing decloud. What we achieved so far is these are again numbers to sort of justify our case. And we've deployed 65 million website requests, 5,000 applications. Some of the application just showing it to you, like HCL or any other game or like any other node infrastructure that you'd like to run can be done on StackOS, and over 1,500 projects have been deployed on StackOS, creating true value and becoming unstoppable in the process. Like I said, we have a version 2 coming up, and this would be loaded with a lot more features. So, in order to stay with us and keep in touch with us, I'll be posting some links. Uh, as you know, most of the time in Western, uh, although we've gone through our cycles of pull and bear, the best time to come and work with anything because dcloud as an infrastructure protocol isn't being worked on by a lot of people, and we are since are one of those category leaders, we would like you to be a part of the decloud revolution and sort of start working with us. So in order to do that, we created something known as uh, a decloud ambassador program, which is headed by the StackOS team. Uh, More into like what this ambassador program would be is about sort of attending events, trying to create a community for StackOS, and sort of helping the decloud ecosystem grow and see how you can provide your value to the StackOS community. So you can scan your code and you'll be able to go through a process vetted by our team in order to be a StackOS ambassador. So this is another link from us, which is basically our Twitter and Discord. Uh, Most of our people have been, believe it or not, have been employed through this Discord, and as long as you keep contributing and communicating with the team on Discord and sort of asking questions, trying to understand what Deep Cloud is about, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to uh, sort of further your case into like becoming a really good Cloud ambassador for StackOS. And that's it from my side. Uh, yeah. Thank you for viewers. Hopefully, we'll listen to this in the future. Uh, and thank you, Shiva, for
Yeah, yeah,
holding this hackathon. Uh,
yeah. That's a super interesting workshop. I'm sure all of my participants will find this very interesting. Also, I encourage all my participants to enroll in the StackOS the Ambassador program. It will be very helpful for you. Yeah,
but yeah, thank you so much for the uh, opportunity, and hopefully, we get to do this sometime soon.
yeah, yeah.
Hopefully, offline, uh,
Yes,
because there's
sure.
a lot more interaction there.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much, Shiva. So,
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
yeah. Oh,